In the rough and tumble world of cattle production, it takes a certain type of personality to handle the monetary risks of a volatile market and the often bigger-than-life personalities who buy those animals. From ranchers in the high plains to employees beyond the packing house door, few are able to fill those boots, but Walt Hackney makes the grade. Hackney has spent countless miles on the open road over the past 6 decades, traveling from auction barn to weighing shed, buying millions of cattle from New York to California. He remains one of the few who will purchase feeders for placement, negotiate futures contracts, and sell cattle directly to packers.
I'd like to think that there are others that are as deeply interested in protecting your client base as what I am. And I believe that there are out there doing it. It helps stabilize your market.
The day Hackney graduated from Oklahoma State University, he left for Ottumwa, Iowa, and his new job as a cattle buyer with the John Morrell Company. The trunk of his car was filled with a few pots and pans, some old clothes, and a well-worn saddle.
I had visions of standing on the lower boards of a corral, looking out over a herd of finished cattle, ready for a packer to buy them. Well, it just goes to show you how wrong you can be. That first morning, I signed in at the plant, and they gave me a pair of rubber boots and a fire hose. And they said, your first job will be to go out and wash the manure out of the pens, and you keep washing them until you get ready to go home tonight.
After several months of working his way through every aspect of the production line, Hackney was put on the road buying cattle. Over the next few decades, he started a family, became a head cattle buyer for the XL Packing Company, formerly owned by meat industry giant Cargill, and in 1992, he opened Hackney Ag Associates, a full-service cattle buying and forward contracting operation. 25 years ago, while crisscrossing the country, Hackney came upon one of the most significant, single-focused projects he has ever tended, despite the fact it represents only a small sliver of his overall business. High in the Rocky Mountains, ranchers near the town of Colburn, Colorado, were having trouble making a profit on their cattle. The Colburn ranching community pushed Mike Ralston to the front of the pack to ask Hackney, who was buying cattle for National Farmer Feeders at the time, to purchase cattle from a pool of 25 producers.
Actually, I wasn't real sure when I first met him. We weren't, none of us real impressed with him, you know. You had to sort of warm up to him, and maybe he's mellowed out a little bit too, I don't know. But as a person, he's about as honest and straightforward. He gets along with everybody, which is important. What you see is what you get.
Herd size near the town of 700 varies widely from less than 10 to more than 200 head. Hackney brought his life experience to bear on the Colburn pool, and after several years of working with local producers, he has watched the ragtag collection of genetic diversity that varied from paddock to paddock become a single herd of consistent cattle.
You have to be very candid. I say now, we're going to improve on your next calf crop. And we're going to show a better set of calves than what you've delivered in here today, or you're not going to be able to continue in the group. Or you are an excellent example of what we've strived to do in your group. I want to commend you on where you're at.
The people who bought cattle from the pool began to notice the animals looked like they were coming from one rancher instead of a loosely knit group of producers. Word reached another group of cattlemen in Rangeford, Montana. They asked Hackney to take up their cause, and he agreed to lend them his advice. Both programs started attracting the interest of ranchers across cattle country in the Northwest.
I don't have enough time left, and it's too tiring and too much of a challenge to start over again with another new group. Now, if they want to come in and take a lesson off of the existing group, y'all come.
Today, cattlemen in the Colburn Pool continue to feel like they're being treated fairly by the veteran buyer. David Long, a fourth-generation cattle rancher, works with his son and grandson a short distance from the weighing shed.
I just thank the world of the man, the way the whole thing's set up. His crew is just like part of the family after this many years.
After 3 days of weighing and loading trucks, checks are written to pool members in Roland's living room. Thousands of dollars go back into the pockets of Colburn ranchers who are already working on the animals they'll sell next year. Longtime friend Ed Warner clears the cattle through his Albia, Iowa-based Central States Cattle Company.
We've become to know Walt as a very honorable, very honest guy, and very big-hearted, and he is fair with everybody that he deals with. If there's any mistakes or any problems, Walt's probably going to be the one to take the bump.
Farther down the buying chain are producers like Bob Frist of Hubbard, Iowa. On a foggy fall morning, he's taking delivery of 480 head of cattle from the Rangeford, Montana pool. A few years ago, Frist sought out Hackney because he wanted the best cattle available.
It don't cost you any more to feed the good ones than it does the bad ones. Ever since Walt and I have gotten together, he's always did the best he could ever do for me. Not only for the producer out there, he gets the money for the producer, but he also makes us feel like we're getting a good buy on the cattle on this end.
When the cattle are ready in the high country, Hackney will be back in the saddle putting more miles on his car. His rounds will ultimately take him to Colburn, where he can look over the pool and sign a few checks.
Our industry is one of a few that you actually grow about as much in the hard times as you do in the good times. Hard times, you're forced to really wear out a number 2 lead pencil making it work. And so the hard times and the good times thrown together, I wouldn't want to change a thing.
For Market to Market, I'm David Miller.